I'm joined here with Dean Segberg, and he is the executive chair of Lloydminster Minor Hockey. Now, with the limits on how many people can gather, will teams look different this next year compared to a normal season?
It's up in the air. We don't know exactly. We know that Hockey Canada does have a certain mandated number of players they would like on a team on a given year. Next year being, again, I hate to use the term uncertain times, but we don't know exactly what it's going to look like going into next season. We base our budgets with LMHA to have a certain amount of teams. However, if they come back and they say that you are going to have, because of social distancing, because of all the different return to play procedures, we might have to look at having smaller size teams, which would mean more teams, which would mean potentially less ice time as well, because we are limited as to how much ice we can utilize from the city. So we don't know. We're planning. We have contingencies for both sets of circumstances as it is a regular season. So it's up in the air. You're going to hear me say that phrase a lot. It's up in the air, but it's literally what it is.
And just regarding, teams and when teams are going out for their seasons and their leagues and everything, will the travel plans change and maybe they won't be traveling as much throughout the season?
As of June 30th, when Hockey Alberta sent out their return to play procedures, that was one of the things that was up in the air. That was literally the very last thing they said is they said that league play can and probably will be a major challenge. It depends lots on the Alberta government and what phase we are in, if we're moving ahead, how it looks like, or if we have to take a step back because of hockey falls right in line with return to school. So, and schools are a giant petri dish. So when these kids go back to school, then they go to hockey, we might roll it back then. We don't know. But yeah, definitely leagues. It's something that in a lot of league meetings they are discussing. What's the league going to look like? Is there going to be travel? And if there is travel, how far out do you do it? So again, it's a fluid situation at this point.
And do you guys know at all what regulations you're going to have regarding if players will have to dress before they get to the arena?
Nothing official, but I would be I would be pretty confident to say that probably, yeah, like in the return to play process, players typically would be wearing a mask coming to the arena. So I'm assuming, reading between the lines, it'd be best to dress at home, come to the arena, social distance in the dressing room. So maybe typically we would have one team in one dressing room. We might have to have that team in two dressing rooms now, 6 feet apart. Some arenas, it works out great for us at the service center. Those are fairly large rooms. It works out. The Archie Miller is a little harder, obviously, but a smaller arena. And then once they're on the ice, they would take the masks off. However, coaches, from what I read, coaches on the bench in the room at all times would have a mask on.
And will that also affect parents and family or who are watching the games as well?
Where it's possible in the return to play policy, spectators, if we can keep them to 100 people, social distancing, some of our arenas, that'll be fairly easy to do. 100 people, you don't have to social distance if you're part of the same family unit. However, masks, probably indoor spaces, will be mandatory. Some of our smaller arenas, that could be a very strong challenge. But and what we're hoping is they're going to probably make it up to each association to police ourselves. So the comment's been made a bunch of times that if you are having 100 people in a room, who wants to go up to that grandpa or grandma that's number 101 or number 102 and say, you have to leave the arena? I think as long as we're smart and we do things the right way, and if you have a family of 6, maybe trying to limit how many young kids are at the arena as well. So it's going to be tricky, and there's going to be a lot of challenges. But I think if people are smart, we will have a fairly normal return to play.
And now with the new season not far along, how is the tryout procedures looking so far?
We are planning to have similar to how we've had. We budgeted and we're planning to have it similar to previous seasons. where we're going to have our on ice sessions, of course. Typically, we try to keep parents as far away from the kids as possible during that day, because for some people it's very stressful. How it's actually going to look and be laid out, is it going to be over the course of 2 weekends, over the course of 3 weekends? We don't know. Again, it could change because of whatever the Alberta government says, but it should be very similar to how we've done it the last couple of seasons.
With summer camps coming up quickly, what are some of the changes people will see regarding those?
Summer camps, typically, Jasmine, summer camps are run from a third party. So we, as a minor hockey association, don't have a lot of say on that. That'd be the crash hockey, IHD, crooked hockey. They have their own return to play policies and how they maintain their social distance. But anything that we have in August, which is again put on by Hockey Alberta, that we are part of, there will be a whole mandate of social distancing, how many kids can be on the ice at one time, coming dressed to the arena. So we have seen that. I can't speak for how the private hockey summer schools are going. I just know that I have some friends that are in it, and they are doing a relatively good job at social distancing and keeping the players and the parents safe.
And if anyone is looking for information on what any more that they might be looking for and how the next season will work, should they go to your website and your Facebook page?
Absolutely. You can always go to Lloydminster Minor Hockey on Facebook or the website. Typically, if we get a bulletin from Hockey Alberta, typically we put it up within 10-20 minutes. Actually, and with Hockey Alberta being on Twitter, and of course our Twitter account too at Lloydminster Minor Hockey, we do have pretty fast access. And a lot of times parents know stuff before it even comes out through us. It's funny, hockey parents, they really watch that Twitter account quick, and they'll tell us, and a lot of times they catch us off guard before we actually get the full on press release. They're hearing snippets from other people. So yeah, social media is the easiest way for us to get our information out.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dean.